Islands rose from ancient shifting seas. Wines shaped cultures across scattered coasts. Life began long before recorded memory. What stories sleep beneath Japan's earliest soil? Jomon settlers crafted tools and pottery. Communities thrived through forests and shores. Traditions formed across thousands of years. How did these roots shape future greatness? Archipelago life built unique identities. Tribes developed customs unlike the mainland. Isolation nurtured creativity, strength, resilience. What fueled unity among distant islands? Yamato clans forged early political dominance. Warriors pledged loyalty to rising rulers. Territories gathered beneath one central authority. What power pulled clans into alignment? An imperial lineage began to solidify. Legends blended ancestry with divine origins. Authority rested on sacred celestial descent. How did myth strengthen early monarchy? Chinese writing entered Japanese courts. Knowledge traveled across storms and kingdoms. Scripts unlocked governance, literature, and learning. What changes followed these written symbols? Buddhism crossed seas with new wisdom. Temples grew across mountains and valleys. Beliefs reshaped ritual, art, and identity. How did faith transform an emerging nation? Confucian governance refined administrative systems. Order guided rulers through structured principles. Harmony became foundation for ruling elites. What balance formed between tradition and philosophy? A centralized monarchy took powerful shape. Emperor became symbol of divine rule. Court culture flourished with organized authority. What vision guided Japan's growing unity? A civilization prepared to influence continents. Ideas spread far beyond island borders. Culture traveled through trade, war, diplomacy. How would Japan shape East Asian history? Jomon culture marks Japan's prehistoric beginnings. People lived as mobile hunter-gatherers. Communities adapted closely to natural environments. Life depended on forests, rivers, seas. Jomon society existed thousands of years. Seasonal movement shaped survival strategies, methods. Hunting, fishing, gathering formed economic base. Tools reflected deep environmental knowledge, wisdom. Pottery became Jomon culture's greatest achievement. Earliest pottery appeared unusually early worldwide. Clay vessels used for cooking storage. Decorative cord patterns defined pottery styles. Advanced pottery suggests settled lifestyles, communities. Villages formed around reliable food sources. Pit dwellings provided insulation and protection. Social bonds strengthened through shared spaces. Spiritual beliefs connected humans' nature spirits. Ritual objects reveal early religious practices. Clay figurines symbolized fertility, protection beliefs. Nature worship shaped daily life rhythms. Jomon people developed complex social identities. Artifacts indicate trade between distant regions. Shared styles spread through interaction networks. Culture evolved without centralized political authority. Environmental changes challenged long-term stability. Climate shifts affected food availability patterns. Communities adapted using traditional knowledge systems. Resilience defined Jomon survival success story. Artistic expression flourished beyond functional needs. Pottery design showed creativity, symbolism, identity. Craftsmanship required patience, skill, experimentation, mastery. Art reflected worldview and social values. Food preparation methods improved dietary variety. Stored resources reduced seasonal hunger risks. Fishing tools expanded maritime subsistence practices. Coastal living influenced settlement patterns strongly. Jomon legacy influenced later Japanese cultures. Techniques, traditions passed through generations orally. Cultural memory preserved prehistoric experiences, knowledge. Foundations prepared transition toward agricultural society. Archaeological discoveries continue reshaping understanding today. Excavations reveal daily life details vividly. Modern research challenges earlier simplistic assumptions. Jomon complexity gains increasing scholarly recognition. Hunter-gatherers demonstrated sustainable living models. Resource management prevented environmental depletion effectively. Balance maintained between consumption regeneration cycles. Lessons remain relevant for modern societies. Jomon culture challenges progress-based narratives. Complexity existed without agriculture state centralized. Human innovation followed multiple historical paths. Japan's roots extend beyond farming revolutions. Time depth created strong regional traditions. Local identities shaped material culture forms. Diversity characterized Jomon cultural landscape broadly. Unity emerged through shared symbolic practices. Jomon period set stage Japanese history. Understanding origins clarifies later transformations clearly. Prehistoric foundations supported future civilizations' development. This era remains essential. Japan's story. Yayoi period transformed ancient Japanese society. New technologies reshaped daily life structures. Meiji shift from hunter-gathering occurred. Agriculture became economic foundation permanently. Wet rice cultivation changed settlement patterns. People settled near fertile river plains. Permanent villages replaced seasonal mobility gradually. Food surplus supported population growth expansion. Rice farming required cooperative labor systems. Communities organized irrigation farming schedules. Collective work strengthened social discipline hierarchy. Leadership roles gained increased importance. Metalworking introduced bronze and iron tools. Weapons farming implements became more efficient. Iron tools improved agricultural productivity greatly. Military power also increased significantly. Bronze artifacts held ritual symbolic meanings. Mirrors bells weapons used ceremonially often. Elite status displayed through bronze ownership. Social stratification became more visible. Yayoi pottery simpler than Jomon styles. Function replaced decoration in daily objects. Pottery reflected practical agricultural lifestyles. Cultural values shifted toward efficiency. Trade expanded across regional communities widely. Resources exchanged including metal rice goods. Interaction networks connected distant settlements. Cultural uniformity increased gradually nationwide. Social classes emerged more clearly defined. Elites controlled land resources, labor access. Commoners worked fields, supported ruling groups. Hierarchy replaced earlier egalitarian traditions. Burial practices reflected social ranking differences. Large tombs built for powerful leaders. Grave goods symbolized authority, wealth, prestige. Death rituals reinforced social order. Warfare increased due resource competition. Weapons production encouraged territorial conflicts. Villages fortified against external threats. Political power tied to military strength. Yayoi society laid foundations state formation. Chiefdoms evolved into proto-political units. Authority centralized among dominant clans. Governance structures slowly developed. Continental influence accelerated technological progress. Knowledge arrived through Korea-China routes. Immigrants introduced farming metallurgy techniques. Cultural exchange reshaped Japanese society. Written history begins near Yayoi end. Chinese records describe early Japanese polities. Queen Himiko emerges legendary figure. Diplomacy linked Japan continental Asia. Yayoi innovations reshaped identity culture. Agriculture redefined relationship with land. Stability replaced mobility, uncertainty gradually. New worldview centered growth continuity. Transition from Jomon to Yayoi pivotal. This era marked true social revolution. Foundations built for Imperial Japan future. History moved toward complex civilization. Clan-based society shaped early Japanese governance. Yuji clans formed around kinship lineage. Shared ancestors created strong group identity. Loyalty bound members to clan leaders. Each Yuji controlled specific territories' resources. Land ownership strengthened clan authority power. Economic control reinforced political influence locally. Territories became symbols of clan prestige. Clan leaders acted as religious figures. Ritual duties legitimized political leadership. Spiritual authorities supported worldly governance. Religion and politics remained deeply intertwined. Powerful clans dominated regional alliances networks. Smaller clans pledged loyalty for protection. Hierarchy emerged among competing Yuji groups. Political balance required constant negotiation. Yamato clan gradually gained supremacy. Strategic marriages expanded Yamato influence. Ritual leadership enhanced imperial legitimacy. Yamato authority unified fragmented regions. Titles and ranks formalized social order. Kabane system defined clan status roles. Rank determined access to power privilege. Hierarchy stabilized political relationships. Councils advised clan leaders governance matters. Decisions made through elite consensus methods. Collective leadership prevented sudden power shifts. Politics evolved without absolute monarchy. Rule remained customary rather than written. Traditions governed conflict resolution justice. Elders enforced norms, social expectations. Custom law maintained social stability. Military support strengthened clan dominance. Warriors defended territory, expanded influence. Armed followers increased leader authority. Force supported political negotiation outcomes. Marriage alliances secured peace cooperation. Intermarriage linked rival clans together. Family ties reduced violent confrontations. Politics operated through blood relations. Agriculture taxation supported ruling elites. Commoners provided labor tribute obligations. Surplus funded rituals warfare administration. Economic base sustained political structures. Foreign contact influenced political organization. Chinese Korean models inspired administration ideas. Centralization appeared gradually over generations. Local traditions blended external concepts. Mythology reinforced clan ancestral legitimacy. Divine ancestry justified ruling authority. Stories strengthened loyalty among followers. Myth served political consolidation purposes. Clan systems shaped imperial foundations. Yuji networks evolved into state bureaucracy. Early structures prepared centralized rule. Japan moved toward organized governance. Formation of clans defined social identity. Belonging determined rights-duty status. Individual identity tied to lineage. Society prioritized collective over individual. This era British tribe and state. Clan politics paved imperial system. Early governance emerged through gradual change. Foundations laid for Japanese monarchy. Continental Asia deeply influenced early Japan. Ideas traveled across seas through migration. Korea-China acted cultural bridges. Exchange transformed Japanese civilization foundations. Buddhism arrived reshaping spiritual beliefs. New philosophies explained suffering, morality, life. Temples became centers learning culture. Religion influenced politics, art, society. Confucianism shaped ethical governance principles. Hierarchy, loyalty, duty emphasized strongly. Rulers adopted moral authority concepts. Social order gained philosophical justification. Chinese writing system introduced literacy. Kanji enabled record-keeping administration. Knowledge preservation improved historical continuity. Written language transformed intellectual life. Technology transfer improved agriculture industry. Advanced tools, irrigation methods adopted. Production efficiency increased significantly nationwide. Economic growth followed technological adaptation. Architecture styles inspired by mainland designs. Palaces, temples reflected continental aesthetics. Urban planning followed Chinese models. Capital cities symbolized centralized authority. Legal codes borrowed from Chinese systems. Written laws replaced customary traditions. Governance became standardized, predictable, structured. State control strengthened through legal reforms. Bureaucracy developed using merit principles. Officials appointed based on rankability. Administration reduced clan-based favoritism. Central government gained efficiency power. Calendar systems improved time management. Agricultural cycles aligned with lunar calculations. Festivals, rituals scheduled systematically. Time regulation supported organized society. Military tactics, weapons influenced externally. Armor formations reflected Korean-Chinese models. Defense strategies grew more sophisticated. State security relied foreign knowledge. Trade networks expanded diplomatic relations. Envoys exchanged gifts, knowledge, customs. Japan learned through observation, adaptation. Selective adoption preserved cultural uniqueness. Education valued scholarly learning texts. Elites studied Chinese classics, philosophy. Knowledge became symbol of authority. Learning reinforced ruling class legitimacy. Art styles blended native foreign elements. Sculpture, painting reflected Buddhist themes. Aesthetic tastes evolved through synthesis. Cultural identity became hybrid dynamic. Centralization accelerated under foreign influence. Rulers saw models of strong empires. Imitation guided institutional development. Japan adapted without losing sovereignty. Selective borrowing defined Japanese approach. Foreign ideas modified to local needs. Cultural autonomy carefully preserved. Adaptation ensured long-term stability. Continental influence shaped lasting institutions. Religion, governance, technology intertwined permanently. Foundations supported imperial expansion later. Asia's impact remains deeply embedded. Japanese myths explain origins of nation. Creation stories preserved in ancient chronicles. Kojiki Nihon Shoki recorded legends. Mythology formed foundation national identity. Sun goddess Amaterasu central divine figure. Imperial line traced to her lineage. Emperors claimed direct heavenly descent. Divinity legitimized absolute political authority. Myths unified fragmented clans culturally. Shared sacred ancestry encouraged loyalty. Spiritual bonds transcended regional divisions. Unity strengthened emerging central rule. Emperor served both ruler-priest. Religious rituals reinforced imperial sanctity. Sacred ceremonies maintained cosmic order. Politics intertwined deeply with spirituality. Divine status discouraged rebellion dissent. Opposition viewed as sacrilegious acts. Authority became unquestionable socially. Stability maintained through belief systems. Shinto beliefs emphasized purity, harmony. Nature spirits calmly worshipped widely. Emperor mediated between God's people. Sacred role elevated social position. Imperial rituals structured annual calendar. Festivals reinforced agricultural spiritual cycles. Participation strengthened communal identity. Traditions linked people to throne. Myth shaped moral values, ethics. Loyalty, obedience framed as sacred duties. Service to emperor became virtue. Ideology guided social behavior norms. Royal symbols represented divine power. Mirror, sword, jewel held sacred meaning. Regalia legitimized imperial succession. Authority passed through ritual continuity. Historians debate myth versus history. Legends mix symbolic political messaging. Myths served governance propaganda purposes. Belief mattered more, factual accuracy. Court culture flourished around divine emperor. Poetry, ceremony, etiquette refined elite life. Aesthetics reinforced sacred rulership image. Culture supported imperial prestige. Mythology justified centralized political order. Divine emperor above clan rivalries. Supreme authority resolved conflicts. State unity maintained through belief. Emperors ruled symbolically, practically. Actual power shifted to elites sometimes. Divinity remained constant despite politics. Symbol sustained national continuity. Myth endured across historical transformations. Beliefs adapted to new eras. Imperial legitimacy never fully abandoned. Tradition survived modernization pressures. Divine emperorship shaped Japanese worldview. Sacred history blended with governance. Identity rooted in myth continuity. Nation perceived as eternal lineage. Origins myths conclude early history phase. Belief systems anchored Imperial Japan. Foundations influenced future expansion ideology. Myth remained powerful political tool. If this journey inspired your understanding, support by sharing this documentary, subscribe for more historical stories, and continue exploring history with us. Nara marked Japan's first permanent capital, established in year 710. Capital symbolized centralized imperial authority. Stability replaced frequent capital relocations. Haiju-Kyo modeled after Chinese capitals. City design followed grid planning principles. Order reflected strong governmental control. Urban planning symbolized political maturity. Permanent capital strengthened state administration. Officials worked from fixed governmental centers. Record-keeping became more systematic organized. Governance gained long-term continuity. Nara housed Imperial Palace complex. Emperor ruled from centralized location. Court rituals conducted regularly formally. Authority visually reinforced through architecture. Capital location encouraged population concentration. Artisans, scholars, monks migrated there. Urban culture expanded rapidly within walls. Economic activity increased significantly. Bureaucracy operated efficiently from Nara. Government offices clustered around palace. Communication improved among state departments. Decision-making became more coordinated. Religious institutions flourished within capital. Major temples constructed with state support. Buddhism intertwined with imperial authority. Religion legitimized political power. Tadaiji temple symbolized imperial devotion. Great Buddha represented state protection. Massive construction displayed national resources. Faith united people under throne. Road networks connected Nara provinces. Taxes, tributes flowed into capital. Central control extended across regions. Infrastructure supported administrative reach. Foreign envoys visited Nara regularly. Diplomacy strengthened with China, Korea. Cultural exchange centered in capital. International awareness expanded among elites. Education institutions emerged near court. Scholars studied Chinese classics texts. Learning became government requirement. Merit gained importance alongside lineage. Capital permanence reduced clan power. Local elites lost autonomous influence. State authority overshadowed regional control. Centralization became dominant political trend. Urban life changed social dynamics. Markets, festivals attracted diverse populations. Cultural interaction increased within city. New identities formed beyond villages. Artistic expression grew under patronage. Court-funded sculpture painting projects. Buddhist art flourished impressively. Culture reflected state-sponsored ideals. Nara period marked historical transition. Nomadic governance evolved into permanence. Capital embodied imperial ambition. Japan entered new administrative era. Establishment of Nara shaped future capitals. Heian-ki-o followed similar principles. Permanent capitals became standard practice. Legacy endured beyond Nara period. Japanese state formalized legal systems. Written laws replaced customary traditions. Government sought order, predictability, stability. Central authority strengthened significantly. Ritsuyo legal codes established governance framework. Inspired by Chinese Tong models, laws defined duties, rights, punishments. State control became standardized nationwide. Criminal law regulated social behavior. Punishments categorized by severity level. Justice administered through official courts. Law reinforced imperial authority. Administrative law structured government offices. Ministries assigned specific responsibilities. Clear hierarchy guided official conduct. Bureaucracy replaced clan-based rule. Officials appointed through rank systems. Merit education influenced promotions gradually. Training emphasized Confucian principles, ethics. Service to state became ideal. Provincial administration organized under governors. Local officials collected taxes, enforced laws. Central government extended regional oversight. Autonomy reduced among local elites. Taxation system standardized economic obligations. Rice taxes, labor service mandated. Revenue supported court, army, temples. Economic base stabilized government operations. Population registers improved state surveillance. Households recorded, counted regularly. Labor conscription organized efficiently. Control over people increased. Military administration regulated national defense. Soldiers recruited through conscription system. Weapons stored under state supervision. Security centralized under imperial command. Legal codes influenced social hierarchy. Ranks determined legal privileges, penalties. Elites received favorable treatment sometimes. Law reinforced existing inequalities. Bureaucracy depended on written records, documents, orders, archives maintained carefully. Literacy became essential administrative skill. Writing empowered governing class. Court officials gained political influence. Bureaucrats advised emperor policy matters. Administrative expertise rivaled aristocratic lineage. Power slowly professionalized. Legal ideals contrasted with realities. Corruption, favoritism persisted despite codes. Local resistance challenged enforcement. System adapted imperfectly over time. Ritsuyo system declined gradually later. Private estates weakened tax collection. Central authority faced financial strain. Bureaucracy lost effectiveness. Despite decline, legal legacy endured. Concept of centralized law remained. Governance traditions influenced future regimes. Institutional memory persisted. Codification marked major state transformation. Japan moved toward rule-based governance. Administration gained formal structure. Foundations laid for imperial state. Heian period began with capital relocation. Heian Kyo became imperial center. Court sought peace, stability, refinement. New era emphasized culture, elegance. Political power stabilized under aristocracy. Fujiwara clan dominated court politics. Regency system controlled imperial decisions. Court life became highly ceremonial. Peace allowed cultural creativity to flourish. Warfare declined among ruling elites. Attention shifted toward aesthetics, refinement. Culture defined elite social status. Japanese literature reached remarkable heights. Writing moved beyond Chinese influence. Kana script enabled native expression. Women contributed significantly to literature. The tale of Genji emerged iconic. Murasaki Shikibu authored literary masterpiece. Novel explored court romance psychology. Work influenced global literature history. Poetry became essential courtly skill. Waka poems exchanged socially formally. Emotions expressed through refined language. Art of poetry defined relationships. Calligraphy valued as visual art. Brush strokes revealed personality, discipline. Writing style reflected moral character. Aesthetics merged with communication. Painting styles evolved uniquely Japanese. Yamato depicted native landscapes. Scenes illustrated seasonal court life. Art celebrated Japanese identity. Music and dance enriched court ceremonies. Gogoku performances entertained nobility. Rituals blended art, spirituality. Performances reinforced imperial prestige. Fashion symbolized refined court taste. Layered robes reflected seasonal harmony. Colors indicated rank status. Appearance communicated social hierarchy. Architecture favored elegance over grandeur. Palaces designed with natural integration. Sliding doors, open spaces used. Living reflected harmony with nature. Education emphasized literature etiquette. Scholars mastered classics, poetry, arts. Cultural knowledge equaled political power. Refinement defined aristocratic excellence. Isolation from China encouraged originality. Diplomatic missions reduced significantly. Japan developed independent cultural voice. Heian culture became distinctly Japanese. Cultural pursuits overshadowed military concerns. Defense delegated to provincial warriors. Samurai class began rising quietly. Shift foreshadowed future power changes. Heian arts preserved aristocratic worldview. Beauty impermanence deeply appreciated. Mono-no-aware philosophy emerged. Sensitivity shaped cultural expression. This period defined classical Japanese culture. Art literature influenced later generations. Heian ideals endured centuries. Legacy remained central Japanese identity. Buddhism became powerful state religion. Rulers embraced faith for legitimacy. Spiritual authority supported political stability. Religion strengthened imperial governance. Nara court sponsored major Buddhist temples. State funded monks' rituals construction. Religion closely tied to government policy. Temples symbolized national protection. Emperors believed Buddhism protected nation. Prayers conducted for peace, prosperity. Disasters interpreted through religious lens. Faith guided political decision-making. Monks gained influence within court circles. Religious leaders advised emperors directly. Clerics became political power brokers. Sacred authority expanded beyond temples. Great temples dominated urban landscapes. Architecture reflected spiritual grandeur. Massive halls housed sacred icons. Structures displayed imperial devotion. Buddhist art flourished with state support. Sculptures portrayed calm, enlightened figures. Art aimed to inspire devotion, reverence. Aesthetics shaped spiritual experience. Pagodas symbolized cosmic Buddhist order. Vertical design represented enlightenment path. Architecture blended symbolism, engineering. Buildings taught religious philosophy visually. Heian period shifted Buddhist practices. Esoteric schools gained popularity influence. Tendai Shingon doctrines emphasized rituals. Mysticism attracted aristocratic patrons. Court nobles practiced Buddhism privately. Personal temples built within estates. Religion became refined elite pursuit. Spirituality reflected social status. Buddhist concepts influenced Japanese aesthetics. Impermanence, suffering, enlightenment themes spread. Art literature absorbed religious philosophy. Culture reflected Buddhist worldview. Monasteries accumulated wealth, land power. Tax exemptions increased temple influence. Economic strength rivaled aristocracy sometimes. Religion became political institution. Conflicts arose between temple-state. Monks formed armed forces occasionally. Militarization challenged imperial authority. Religion entered power struggles. Buddhism shaped funeral memorial practices. Afterlife beliefs influenced social customs. Rituals comforted grieving families. Death gained spiritual meaning. Education preserved through Buddhist institutions. Monks copied texts taught students. Knowledge survived within temples. Religion became learning center. Architecture harmonized with natural landscapes. Temples built among mountains, forests. Design encouraged contemplation, solitude. Nature enhanced spiritual practice. Buddhism integrated with native beliefs. Shinto merged with Buddhas. Syncretism defined Japanese spirituality. Faith adapted local traditions. Religious influence shaped medieval Japan. Politics, culture, architecture intertwined deeply. Buddhism left enduring legacy. Faith transformed Japanese civilization. Court life defined elite Japanese society. Aristocrats controlled politics, culture, education. Status determined access to power. Hierarchy structured everyday interactions. Nobility lived within palace surroundings. Daily routines followed strict etiquette. Ceremonies reinforced rank distinctions. Behavior reflected social position. Fujiwara clan dominated aristocratic circles. Marriage politics secured long-term power. Regents ruled behind imperial authority. Family lineage shaped governance outcomes. Court ranks determined clothing privileges. Colors, fabrics symbolized official status. Appearance communicated hierarchy visually. Fashion became political expression. Education distinguished elites from commoners. Literacy, poetry, knowledge highly valued. Cultural refinement equaled social superiority. Learning reinforced aristocratic dominance. Romantic relationships followed court conventions. Love expressed through poetry exchanges. Privacy limited by social norms. Relationships shaped reputations, careers. Women held cultural influence at court. Female authors shaped literary tradition. Salons hosted artistic, intellectual exchange. Women impacted court culture significantly. Leisure activities reflected elite lifestyles. Poetry contests, music performances common. Games, festivals structured social life. Entertainment reinforced group cohesion. Residences designed for aesthetic pleasure. Gardens represented idealized natural beauty. Architecture emphasized elegance, openness. Homes reflected refined tastes. Court rituals marked seasonal cycles. Festivals celebrated agricultural spiritual harmony. Participation affirmed social belonging. Tradition maintained cosmic order. Commoners lived far from court luxury. Peasants supported elite through labor. Social mobility remained extremely limited. Hierarchy appeared natural and challenged. Provincial warriors gained little recognition. Military roles undervalued by aristocrats. Defense responsibilities delegated outward. Samurai class developed quietly. Court culture prioritized appearance over action. Politics involved intrigue, ceremony, symbolism. Practical governance often neglected. Weaknesses emerged within system. Social hierarchy reinforced through law custom. Birth determined opportunities, limitations. Merit rarely overcame lineage barriers. Order maintained through tradition. Cultural obsession with refinement isolated elites. Distance grew between court provinces. Aristocracy lost practical control gradually. Central authority weakened over time. Court life influenced Japanese values deeply. Politeness, aesthetic sensitivity emphasized. These ideals persisted historically. Culture outlived political system. Heian aristocracy shaped classical identity. Art, literature, etiquette defined era. Hierarchy structured social relations. Legacy remains visible today. This concludes Nara Heian periods. Court culture marks social evolution. Foundations set for feudal transition. Next era approached inevitably. Feudal Japan emerged after imperial decline. Military leaders gained political authority. Power shifted away from imperial courts. New system reshaped Japanese governance. Shogunate established military-based government. Shogun ruled as supreme commander. Emperor remained symbolic figure only. Real power rested with warriors. Minamoto victory marked political turning point. Battle of Dan-no, aura decisive. Samurai leadership legitimized through warfare. Military success justified ruling authority. Kamakura shogunate became first military regime. Government located away from imperial capital. Regional rule replaced centralized court control. Decentralization defined feudal governance. Land grants rewarded loyal samurai service. Vassals pledged loyalty to shogun. Feudal bonds structured political relationships. Personal allegiance replaced bureaucratic rule. Provincial governors gained local autonomy. Military governors administered regional affairs. Central oversight weakened significantly. Local power structures strengthened steadily. Tax collection decentralized under feudal lords. Resources controlled by regional elites. Economic authority fragmented across domains. Central treasury lost dominance. Justice enforced through local warrior courts. Law varied across different territories. Custom replaced uniform legal codes. Authority depended on military strength. Imperial court lost administrative relevance. Court rituals continued symbolically. Political influence diminished drastically. Emperor became cultural spiritual figure. Shogunate relied on military loyalty. Control maintained through force alliances. Power unstable without constant balance. Politics became battlefield of strength. Rival clans challenged shogunal authority. Internal conflicts weakened central control. Power struggles common among warriors. Instability characterized early feudal era. Decentralization encouraged regional warfare. Lords competed for land influence. Continuous conflict shaped samurai culture. War became normal political tool. Shogunate adapted to maintain order. Compromise alliances, strategic marriages used. Governance required negotiation, coercion. Flexibility ensured regime survival. Military rule redefined Japanese society. Warriors replaced aristocrats as rulers. Values shifted toward strength, loyalty. Feudal hierarchy became dominant system. Decentralized power shaped future conflicts. Regional autonomy persisted for centuries. Centralization became difficult afterward. Legacy influenced later unification efforts. Rise of shogunate transformed Japan permanently. Military governance replaced court authority. Decentralization defined feudal identity. Samurai rule began historical era. Samurai emerged as dominant warrior class. Military service defined their social role. They served lords with absolute loyalty. Warriors became ruling elite. Samurai trained in combat discipline. Swordsmanship, archery, horsemanship mastered. Skills required lifelong dedication practice. Martial excellence ensured survival. Bushido code guided samurai behavior. Ethics emphasized honor, loyalty, courage. Moral conduct valued above life. Code shaped warrior identity. Loyalty to Lord Paramount principle. Betrayal considered ultimate dishonor. Personal desire sacrificed for duty. Service defined personal worth. Honor governed social reputation strictly. Shame worse than physical death. Failure demanded ritual suicide. Seppuku restored lost honor. Courage expected in battle situations. Fear suppressed through mental training. Death accepted as natural outcome. Bravery distinguished true samurai. Self-discipline practiced daily rigorously. Meditation restraint sharpened warrior focus. Control over emotions essential. Calm mind enhanced battlefield performance. Samurai upheld justice within domains. Law enforcement part warrior duty. Punishments executed without hesitation. Authority enforced through strength. Education included literature philosophy. Samurai studied poetry history ethics. Cultural knowledge balanced martial skills. Refinement elevated warrior status. Weaponry symbolized samurai identity. Sword considered warrior soul. Katana carried spiritual significance. Arms reflected personal honor. Samurai followed strict hierarchical obedience. Ranks determined privileges, responsibilities. Disobedience punished severely. Order maintained within warrior class. Women in samurai families trained. Defense household management taught. Honor extended through family conduct. Household reflected warrior values. Bushido evolved over time periods. Peace reshaped warrior ideals gradually. Moral philosophy expanded beyond battle. Code adapted to social change. Samurai served administrators during peace. Governance replaced constant warfare duties. Bureaucratic roles expanded influence. Warriors governed civilian populations. Bushido influenced broader Japanese culture. Values spread beyond warrior class. Honor loyalty admired nationwide. Ethics shaped national character. Samurai legacy remains culturally powerful. Stories, legends preserve warrior ideals. Bushido still referenced modern Japan. Warrior spirit endures symbolically. Power struggles defined feudal Japanese history. Military clans competed for national control. Authority gained through battlefield victories. Politics driven by warfare alliances. Minamoto clan rose during Genpei War. Defeated rival Taira decisively. Victory established first shogunate. Military rule became permanent. Minamoto Yoritomo founded Kamakura shogunate. Central authority shifted to warrior government. Clan leadership legitimized by conquest. Samurai dominance officially recognized. Ashikaga clan replaced Minamoto leadership. Power transferred through internal conflict. Muromachi shogunate established in Kyoto. Authority became weaker, decentralized. Ashikaga rule faced constant challenges. Regional lords gained increasing autonomy. Shogunal control eroded gradually. Civil wars destabilized the realm. Owning war triggered national chaos. Feudal order collapsed across provinces. Daimyo fought independently for land. Warring states period began. Tokugawa clan emerged amid turmoil. Strategic alliances strengthened their position. Tokugawa Ieyasu displayed political patience. Victory achieved through careful planning. Battle of Sekigahara decisive turning point. Tokugawa forces defeated rival coalitions. Unification became possible afterward. Central authority re-established firmly. Tokugawa shogunate founded in Edo. New regime emphasized stability control. Peace replaced centuries of warfare. Strong centralization followed victory. Tokugawa restricted daimyo autonomy. Hostage system ensured loyalty compliance. Military power carefully balanced nationwide. Rebellion prevented through regulation. Each clan shaped governance style differently. Minamoto established military precedents. Ashikaga tolerated regional independence. Tokugawa enforced strict centralized order. Clan rivalry influenced political evolution. Conflict tested administrative adaptability. Power shifted through military success. Leadership required both strength strategy. Samurai loyalty often divided during wars. Allegiances changed with circumstances. Survival sometimes outweighed honor. Pragmatism shaped feudal politics. Castles symbolized clan territorial control. Strongholds marked dominance influence. Military architecture reflected power struggles. Landscape dotted with fortified centers. Clan warfare influenced social mobility. Talented warriors rose through ranks. Merit gained importance during chaos. Opportunity emerged amid instability. Rival clans defined Japan's unification path. Conflict forged centralized feudal state. Tokugawa peace ended military competition. Era concluded prolonged warrior dominance. Zen Buddhism spread among samurai class. Teachings emphasized simplicity, discipline, awareness. Warriors adopted Zen for mental strength. Religion shaped martial mindset. Zen practices focused on meditation training. Zazen cleared mind of distractions. Calm awareness improved battlefield reactions. Mental clarity became combat advantage. Acceptance of impermanence shaped courage. Life-death viewed as transient. Fear reduced through philosophical understanding. Warriors faced death calmly. Zen encouraged direct experiential knowledge. Words considered inadequate for truth. Action valued over intellectual debate. Instinct guided martial response. Martial arts integrated Zen principles. Swordsmanship emphasized timing, intuition. Movement flowed without conscious thought. Technique merged with mental state. Concept of mushin influenced warriors. No mind state removed hesitation. Action occurred spontaneously, naturally. Mind-body acted as one. Discipline reinforced daily warrior routines. Meditation practiced alongside physical training. Balance achieved between mind-body. Holistic development defined ideal samurai. Zen aesthetics influenced warrior lifestyle. Simplicity valued over luxury. Tea ceremony embodied Zen principles. Ritual promoted mindfulness. Architecture reflected Zen minimalism. Dojo temples designed without excess. Empty spaces encouraged contemplation. Environment supported mental focus. Garden design expressed Zen philosophy. Raked sand symbolized water flow. Stones represented mountains, islands. Nature abstracted for meditation. Zen monks taught samurai philosophy. Monasteries served training centers. Warriors sought spiritual guidance. Religion strengthened moral resolve. Martial philosophy stressed self-mastery. Victory required defeating inner weakness. Control over ego emphasized. True strength defined internally. Zen rejected fear of failure. Mistakes accepted as learning. Attachment hindered performance growth. Freedom improved effectiveness. Ethics aligned with Bushido values. Honor discipline reinforced through Zen. Loyalty practiced without attachment. Duty performed selflessly. Zen supported leadership under pressure. Calm decision-making crucial. Presence maintained during chaos. Commanders relied on mental clarity. Artistic expression linked Zen practice. Ink painting, calligraphy favored. Spontaneous brushwork reflected mind. Art became meditative exercise. Zen influence extended beyond warriors. Cultural practices adopted philosophy. Minimalism shaped Japanese aesthetics. Legacy spread through society. Zen martial philosophy shaped samurai legacy. Mindfulness defined combat approach. Spiritual depth enhanced martial culture. Influence remains historically significant. Castles became symbols of feudal authority. Military strength expressed through architecture. Daimyo displayed power through fortresses. Castles dominated regional landscapes. Early castles built on strategic hills. Natural terrain enhanced defensive capability. Elevation provided surveillance advantage. Geography shaped military planning. Stone foundations improved structural strength. Walls resisted fire earthquakes attacks. Engineering advanced during warfare periods. Construction reflected technological progress. Moats surrounded castles for protection. Water barriers slowed invading forces. Defense layered strategically around walls. Security relied on multiple obstacles. Castle keeps housed daimyo residences. Living quarters integrated with defense. Administration conducted within fortress. Power centralized inside strongholds. Fortified towns developed around castles. Samurai merchants, artisans settled nearby. Economic activity supported military centers. Urban growth followed military needs. Roads radiated from castle towns. Trade routes controlled by daimyo. Movement regulated through checkpoints. Infrastructure supported territorial governance. Castle layouts confused invading enemies. Twisting paths hindered direct assaults. Gate systems controlled access flow. Design favored defenders strongly. Watchtowers allowed early threat detection. Signals communicated across regions. Defense networks coordinated responses. Communication ensured rapid mobilization. Castles symbolized psychological dominance. Visibility intimidated rival clans. Presence reinforced lordly authority. Architecture conveyed unchallengeable power. During peace, castles became administrative hubs. Military centers evolved into government seats. Law tax collection managed centrally. Castles governed daily civilian life. Art aesthetics incorporated into fortresses. Gardens, screens decorated interiors. Beauty balanced martial function. Culture persisted within military spaces. Tokugawa era restricted castle construction. Only one castle allowed per domain. Policy prevented military rebellion. Central control reinforced stability. Castle towns became cultural centers. Theaters, markets, festivals flourished. Urban life expanded beyond warfare. Cities evolved from military roots. Firearms influenced castle design adaptations. Gates, walls modified for cannons. Defense adjusted to new weapons. Innovation followed technological change. Castles required immense labor resources. Peasants conscripted for construction. Projects demonstrated daimyo wealth. Power measured through scale complexity. Many castles remain historical landmarks. Structures symbolize feudal legacy. Tourism preserves architectural heritage. Castles connect past-present. Construction of castles shaped feudal Japan. Military architecture structured political power. Urban development followed fortification patterns. Legacy endures in modern cities. Tokugawa Ieyasu unified Japan successfully. Decades of warfare finally ended. Strong leadership restored national stability. Peace became primary political goal. Victory at Sekigahara proved decisive. Rival daimyo forces defeated completely. Battle established Tokugawa supremacy. Military dominance legitimized authority. Tokugawa appointed shogun officially. Title granted by imperial court. Emperor remained symbolic ruler. Real power rested with shogunate. Edo chosen as political center. Small fishing village transformed rapidly. Strategic location offered defensive advantages. New capital symbolized fresh beginning. Edo castle expanded into massive complex. Fortifications reflected centralized power. Residents housed shogun administration. City developed around castle core. Shogunate reorganized feudal relationships. Daimyo classified by loyalty levels. Land redistribution ensured Tokugawa dominance. Potential rivals carefully weakened. Alternate attendance system introduced later. Daimyo required residence in Edo. Families kept as hostages effectively. Policy reduced rebellion risks. Central authority controlled military resources. Castle construction strictly regulated. Weapons production monitored closely. Peace maintained through disarmament. Road networks connected Edo nationwide. Transportation improved administrative efficiency. Communication strengthened central oversight. Nation integrated under shogunal rule. Edo population expanded dramatically. Samurai officials, merchants migrated. City became largest urban center. Urban culture began flourishing. Economic control centralized under shogunates. Tax revenues managed systematically. Rice economy stabilized governance. Wealth-funded administration order. Legal authority consolidated in Edo. Shogunal courts issued national laws. Uniform policies enforced across domains. Justice reinforced central power. Tokugawa ideology emphasized stability order. Confucian values promoted loyalty hierarchy. Social harmony prioritized over ambition, peace valued above expansion. Unification reduced internal warfare drastically. Samurai transitioned to administrators. Society adapted to long peace. Military culture slowly transformed. Edo symbolized new national era. From chaos emerged structured governance. Centralized rule ensured longevity. Tokugawa peace lasted centuries. Tokugawa Ieyasu secured lasting legacy. Foundations built for isolation period. Edo later became modern Tokyo. Unification shaped modern Japan. Tokugawa society organized by strict classes. Hierarchy ensured order stability. Movement between classes forbidden. Birth determined lifelong status. Samurai occupied high social rank. Warriors served as administrators. Stipends replaced battlefield rewards. Honor maintained through service. Peasants ranked below samurai class. Agricultural labor valued highly. Farmers produced essential rice taxes. State depended on rural productivity. Artisans formed third social group. Skilled craftsmen produced daily goods. Work supported urban economies. Status limited despite importance. Merchants ranked lowest officially. Profit viewed as morally suspect. Wealth did not equal status. Social resentment grew quietly. Outcast groups excluded from hierarchy. Certain occupations considered impure. Discrimination institutionalized socially. Marginalization persisted legally. Centralized governance controlled all domains. Shogunate issued nationwide policies. Daimyo, autonomy strictly regulated. Power concentrated in Edo. Daimyo classified by loyalty lineage. Tozama Fudarigo sank distinctions enforced. Trusted lords received key positions. Outsiders monitored carefully. Alternate attendance system enforced obedience. Daimyo traveled regularly to Edo. Financial burden limited rebellion. Central authority reinforced through control. Law codes regulated behavior strictly. Dress residence weapons controlled. Violations punished harshly publicly. Order maintained through discipline. Local governance supervised by samurai. Village heads collected taxes, enforced rules. Central oversight limited local autonomy. Administration reached rural communities. Confucian ideology justified hierarchy. Loyalty, obedience, filial piety emphasized. Social roles framed as natural order. Ideology supported political stability. Education promoted moral instruction. Samurai schools taught Confucian texts. Ethics reinforced governing responsibility. Learning legitimized elite authority. Economic growth strained class boundaries. Merchants gained wealth influence quietly. Samurai debts increased over time. Hierarchy faced internal contradictions. Rigid system limited social mobility. Talent constrained by birth status. Innovation sometimes suppressed. Stability prioritized over flexibility. Despite rigidity, peace endured. Order lasted over 2 centuries. Centralized feudal governance succeeded. Longevity defined Tokugawa rule. Hierarchy shaped Japanese social consciousness. Respect authority embedded culturally. Class awareness influenced behavior. Legacy persists subtly today. Tokugawa governance balanced control stability. Rigid structure prevented chaos. Peace achieved through discipline. System defined early modern Japan. Tokugawa shogunate adopted isolation policy. Foreign influence viewed as political threat. Control prioritized over open exchange. Stability guided national decisions. Sakoku policy restricted overseas interaction. Japanese forbidden from traveling abroad. Retinees face severe punishment. Borders closed to most foreigners. Christianity perceived as dangerous ideology. Religion threatened loyalty to shogunate. Missionaries expelled forcefully nationwide. Faith banned under strict enforcement. European traders limited heavily. Portuguese, Spanish expelled completely. Dutch, Chinese permitted limited trade. Contact confined to Nagasaki port. Dejima Island served controlled trade post. Foreigners isolated from general population. Transactions monitored by officials closely. Exchange remained tightly regulated. Shogunate feared colonial domination. Examples observed across Asian regions. Isolation prevented foreign political interference. Independence preserved through separation. Technology exchange continued selectively. Firearms, navigation, medical knowledge imported. Useful knowledge accepted pragmatically. Ideology controlled cultural penetration. Foreign books censored carefully. Scientific texts translated cautiously. Rangoku Dutch learning developed. Western science studied quietly. Diplomacy limited to few neighbors. Korea Ryukyu maintained relations. Ceremonial missions reinforced legitimacy. Regional ties remained controlled. Maritime defense strengthened during isolation. Coastal patrols monitored illegal contact. Smugglers punished harshly publicly. Security enforced national closure. Isolation reduced external military threats. No foreign wars occurred domestically. Peace maintained internally consistently. Focus shifted toward internal order. Economic self-sufficiency emphasized. Domestic production encouraged nationwide. Foreign dependency deliberately avoided. Local industries flourished under protection. Cultural identity developed independently. Arts customs evolved without foreign pressure. Traditions refined internally. Distinct Japanese culture strengthened. Information about world remained limited. Global changes occurred unnoticed. Japan lagged behind industrial advances. Knowledge gap widened gradually. Sakoku maintained Tokugawa authority. Control ensured ideological uniformity. Foreign ideas carefully filtered. Political stability preserved centuries. Policy faced challenges over time. Smuggling increased despite restrictions. Foreign pressure mounted externally. Isolation became increasingly difficult. Sakoku shaped national consciousness deeply. Insularity influenced worldview attitudes. Caution toward outsiders normalized. Legacy impacted modern diplomacy. Isolation delayed modernization initially. However, sovereignty remained intact. Controlled exposure prevented colonization. Policy balanced risk survival. Sakoku defined Tokugawa foreign relations. Closed doors protected feudal order. Peace preserved through separation. Era shaped Japan's unique path. Tokugawa peace enabled economic expansion. Warfare no longer disrupted production. Stability encouraged long-term planning. Economy gradually diversified nationwide. Agriculture remained economic foundation. Rice production increased through irrigation. New farming techniques boosted yields. Surplus supported population growth. Land surveys standardized tax assessments. Productivity measured systematically by state. Rice became unit of wealth. Economy centered on agricultural output. Cash crops expanded alongside rice. Cotton, tea, sugar cultivated widely. Regional specialization increased profitability. Markets connected distant provinces. Peasant villages organized cooperative labor. Irrigation maintenance required collective effort. Community bonds strengthened economically. Rural society became more structured. Urban centers grew rapidly during peace. Edo, Osaka, Kyoto expanded significantly. Cities became hubs of commerce. Population concentrated in towns. Edo emerged major consumption center. Samurai stipends fueled urban markets. Demand supported artisans, merchants. City economy thrived continuously. Osaka functioned as commercial heart. Rice exchange standardized trade pricing. Merchant houses gained financial power. Banking practices developed gradually. Transportation networks improved nationwide. Highways, waterways facilitated trade. Goods moved efficiently between regions. Infrastructure integrated national economy. Merchant class accumulated significant wealth. Official status remained low socially. Economic influence expanded quietly. Class tensions increased subtly. Credit systems developed among merchants. Loans supported daimyo finances. Samurai debt increased steadily. Money economy challenged feudal values. Markets standardized prices measures. Guilds regulated production trade. Economic rules ensured stability. Commerce became predictable, structured. Urban labor specialization increased productivity. Craft guilds trained skilled artisans. Quality goods supplied growing demand. Industry supported urban livelihoods. Population growth stimulated domestic markets. Food, clothing, housing demands rose. Economic circulation intensified locally. Prosperity spread unevenly across classes. Shogunate regulated economy carefully. Monopolies licenses issued selectively. Price controls enforced during crises. State intervened to prevent unrest. Natural disasters periodically disrupted growth. Famines exposed systemic weaknesses. Relief efforts tested governance capacity. Economic stability faced challenges. Despite limits, economy expanded steadily. Japan avoided external exploitation. Internal trade sustained prosperity. Growth occurred without foreign dependence. Tokugawa economy laid modernization foundations. Commercial habits encouraged innovation. Urbanization reshaped social relations. Economic change prepared future reforms. Economic growth sustained Tokugawa order. Prosperity supported long peace. Commerce thrived under isolation. Era transformed Japanese economy. Long peace encouraged cultural creativity. Society shifted focus from warfare. People sought entertainment expression. Culture thrived under stability. Urban populations fueled cultural demand. Merchants, artisans supported artistic markets. Culture extended beyond elite circles. Common people became patrons. Kabuki theater gained widespread popularity. Dramatic performances entertained city audiences. Actors became cultural celebrities. Theater reflected social values. Bunroku puppet theater developed artistry. Narratives explored loyalty, tragedy, honor. Complex puppetry amazed audiences. Stories resonated across classes. Woodblock printing expanded cultural access. Ukiyo-e prints circulated widely. Art depicted everyday urban life. Visual culture reached mass audiences. Literature flourished among townspeople. Novels, essays, travel diaries popular. Writers portrayed contemporary society. Reading became common pastime. Haiku poetry reached refined simplicity. Motsuo Bosho perfected poetic form. Nature impermanence themes emphasized. Poetry reflected Zen sensibility. Education expanded through temple schools. Literacy rates increased significantly. Commoners gained reading skills. Knowledge spread across society. Fashion trends emerged within cities. Clothing styles changed seasonally. Design expressed individuality status. Urban culture influenced rural areas. Tea ceremony refined aesthetic values. Ritual emphasized simplicity, mindfulness. Cultural practice crossed class boundaries. Art shaped everyday behavior. Painting schools developed unique styles. Artists blended tradition, innovation. Themes expanded beyond religious subjects. Secular art gained prominence. Music storytelling enriched cultural life. Shamisen accompanied performances, narratives. Oral traditions preserved community memory. Entertainment bonded social groups. Cultural districts formed in cities. Pleasure quarters concentrated arts, commerce. Yoshiwara symbolized urban sophistication. Leisure spaces shaped social interaction. Despite isolation, foreign ideas filtered subtly. Dutch learning influenced art science. Selective exposure enriched creativity. Culture evolved independently, creatively. Samurai engaged in cultural pursuits. Calligraphy, poetry practiced widely. Arts balanced martial identity. Refinement defined warrior status. Censorship regulated cultural expression. Authorities monitored themes carefully. Satire used subtle symbolism. Artists adapted creatively to limits. Cultural output reflected social realities. Class tensions, humor, tragedy depicted. Art served social commentary. Creativity thrived within constraints. Tokugawa culture shaped modern Japanese identity. Popular arts influenced later generations. Urban aesthetics endured historically. Legacy remains culturally influential. Flourishing culture contrasted political rigidity. Creativity softened authoritarian control. Arts provided social outlets. Culture humanized feudal society. Tokugawa period culturally vibrant, enduring. Isolation did not hinder creativity. Peace enabled artistic evolution. Era enriched Japanese civilization. Tokugawa rule weakened by internal pressures. Economic strain challenged feudal stability. Social unrest spread across domains. Old system faced growing criticism. Foreign powers forced Japan open. Commodore Perry arrived with warships. Unequal treaties humiliated shogunate. Authority appeared incapable of defense. Samurai dissatisfaction increased rapidly. Low stipends caused financial hardship. Loss of purpose created resentment. Warriors questioned shogunal leadership. Imperial loyalists gained political momentum. Sonji ideology spread widely. Revere Emperor, expel foreigners slogan. Imperial authority regained symbolic importance. Powerful domains led resistance movement. Satsuma formed strategic alliance. Military modernization strengthened their forces. Opposition organized effectively. Shogunate attempted late reforms. Policies failed to restore confidence. Internal divisions weakened leadership. Collapse became increasingly inevitable. Tokugawa Yoshinobu resigned authority. Power returned formally to emperor. Peaceful transition attempted initially. Conflict still erupted afterward. Boshin War erupted nationwide. Imperial forces clashed with shogunate loyalists. Modern weapons ensured imperial victory. War determined political future. Kyoto became center of imperial power. Young emperor, Meiji symbolized renewal. Court regained political prominence. Symbolism unified reform supporters. Feudal domains abolished gradually. Han system replaced by prefectures. Daimyo surrendered lands authority. Central government strengthened significantly. Samurai privileges revoked systematically. Class distinctions legally dismantled. Stipends converted into bombs. Warrior class lost political dominance. Emperor declared national modernization goals. Charter oath announced reforms publicly. Unity progress emphasized officially. New era vision articulated. Capital moved from Kyoto to Edo. City renamed Tokyo officially. Relocation symbolized political transformation. Modern nation centered on emperor. Imperial government consolidated legitimacy. Tradition blended with reform agenda. Sacred authority supported drastic change. Continuity masked revolutionary transformation. Restoration reframed power not returned. Authority became centralized modern state. Emperor legitimized new institutions. Revolution occurred behind tradition. Meiji Restoration marked historic turning point. Feudal Japan ended definitively. Imperial rule modernized governance. Nation entered new global era. Meiji leaders prioritized rapid national transformation. Survival required strength modernization. Western powers threatened sovereignty. Change became urgent necessity. Government adopted slogan rich nation. Strong army policy promoted. Economic military power intertwined. Development guided national strategy. Industrialization began under state direction. Model factories established nationwide. Textiles, shipbuilding, mining expanded. Industry became economic backbone. Foreign experts hired for knowledge. Engineers, advisors trained Japanese workers. Technology transferred quickly, efficiently. Learning accelerated modernization process. Railways constructed connecting major cities. Transportation improved mobility, commerce. Travel times reduced dramatically. Infrastructure unified national economy. Telegraph lines enhanced communication networks. Information transmitted rapidly nationwide. Government coordination improved significantly. Modern administration became possible. Urbanization increased around industrial centers. Factory towns attracted rural workers. Population shifted towards cities. Social structures transformed quickly. Military modernization followed Western models. Conscription introduced, replacing samurai armies. National army created loyalty state. Military became professional, standardized. Modern weapons produced, imported domestically. Arsenals built for self-sufficiency. Training emphasized disciplined technology. Forces matched global standards. Navy expanded using British models. Shipyards constructed warships. Sea power protected trade routes. Maritime strength supported expansion. Education supported industrial workforce needs. Technical schools trained engineers. Literacy expanded among citizens. Skilled labor powered factories. Government invested heavily in infrastructure. Ports, bridges, roads constructed. Logistics supported industrial growth. Connectivity strengthened national integration. Zaibatsu emerged as industrial conglomerates. Private enterprises partnered with state. Capital concentrated among elites. Industrial capitalism took root. Economic growth accelerated national wealth. Exports increased global trade presence. Foreign dependence gradually reduced. Economy strengthened sovereignty. Industrialization caused social challenges. Harsh factory conditions sparked unrest. Labor movements slowly emerged. Modern society faced new tensions. Traditional lifestyles disrupted rapidly. Rural communities experienced strain. Cultural adjustments required adaptation. Change created generational divides. Despite challenges, modernization succeeded. Japan avoided colonization. Industry, military infrastructure strengthened. Nations secured independence. Rapid modernization reshaped Japan completely. State-directed development prevailed. Strength achieved through adaptation. Meiji vision realized nationally. Meiji leaders studied Western governance models. Learning aims strengthened national power. Institutions copied selectively carefully. Adaptation guided reform process. Political missions sent to Western nations. Iwakura missions studied foreign systems. Delegates observed constitutions, parliaments. Knowledge gathered for domestic reform. Japan adopted constitutional monarchy framework. Emperor remained symbolic sovereign. Government operated through modern institutions. Balance sought tradition modernization. Meiji Constitution promulgated 1889. Modeled after Prussian system. Emperor granted supreme authority. Limited representative government introduced. Diet established as national legislature. Upper-lower houses created formally. Elections allowed restricted participation. Political voice expanded gradually. Cabinet system organized executive governance. Ministers responsible for administration. Bureaucracy professionalized under state control. Policy making became centralized. Legal system modernized through Western law. Civil criminal codes rewritten. Equality before law or declared officially. Judicial procedure standardized nationwide. Independent court system established. Judges trained in modern jurisprudence. Legal consistency improved social order. Rule of law strengthened authority. Police force reorganized professionally. Public order maintained systematically. Surveillance expanded under state power. Security ensured internal stability. Educational reform prioritized national development. School system established nationwide. Compulsory education introduced for children. Literacy expanded rapidly. Curriculum blended Western science ethics. Moral education emphasized loyalty emperor. Knowledge served state objectives. Citizens shaped for modern nation. Universities founded for advanced learning. Tokyo Imperial University led education. Experts trained in law science. Elite leadership developed institutionally. Merit-based advancement promoted officially. Examinations replaced hereditary privilege. Talent recruited for bureaucracy. Social mobility increased modestly. Western dress manners adopted officially. Officials modeled foreign appearances. Symbolized break from feudal past. Modern identity visually expressed. Press expanded under new systems. Newspapers spread political awareness. Public opinion slowly formed. Information circulation increased nationally. Women gained limited educational access. Girls' schools established gradually. Traditional roles still dominated society. Change occurred unevenly slowly. Reforms faced conservative resistance. Tradition clashed with rapid change. Government enforced reforms firmly. Stability prioritized over dissent. Western systems reshaped Japanese governance. Institutions modernized without colonization. Selective adoption ensured sovereignty. Modern state successfully constructed. Adoption of Western systems transformative. Politics, law, education aligned modernization. Japan entered global order. Reforms defined Meiji success. Meiji leaders sought unified national identity. Loyalty redirected toward emperor state. Local identities subordinated gradually. Nationhood emphasized above clan ties. Central government abolished feudal domains. Prefectural system replaced Han structure. Officials appointed from Tokyo. Power centralized administratively. Emperor elevated as national symbol. State Shinto promoted officially. Sacred rituals reinforced imperial authority. Religion supported political unity. National ideology taught through education. Textbooks emphasized imperial history. Myth-linked emperor people. Shared narrative strengthened cohesion. Conscription created citizen soldiers. Military service fostered national loyalty. Regional differences diminished through service. Army became unifying institution. Standard language promoted nationwide. Dialect differences discouraged formally. Communication improved across regions. Cultural unity advanced gradually. National holidays, rituals institutionalized. Public ceremonies encouraged participation. Collective identity reinforced regularly. Tradition standardized under state control. Central taxation strengthened fiscal authority. Revenue collected directly by state. Local autonomy reduced significantly. Economic control centralized nationally. Railways communication integrated regions. Physical connectivity supported unity. Isolation of provinces ended. Nation became interconnected network. Police expanded state presence locally. Law enforcement standardized nationwide. Surveillance increased over population. Authority reached everyday life. Symbols, flags, anthems standardized. National flag anthem promoted. Visual identity unified populace. Symbols encouraged patriotic sentiment. Press laws regulated public discourse. Dissent monitored, suppressed when necessary. Unity prioritized over pluralism. State maintained ideological control. Shinto separated from Buddhism officially. Religion reorganized under state ideology. Spiritual authority centralized indirectly. Belief system aligned nationalism. Military victories fueled national pride. Success validated modernization efforts. Confidence in state increased. Patriotism strengthened collectively. National history rewritten academically. Scholars supported state narrative. Past framed as continuous empire. Identity anchored in antiquity. Centralization limited regional resistance. Power concentrated in Tokyo. Local leaders lost independence. State authority became dominant. National identity fostered obedience, unity. Citizens viewed themselves Japanese first. Collective duty emphasized strongly. Individual interests subordinated. Expansion of identity strengthened state. Centralized power ensured modernization pace. Unity enabled rapid transformation. Nation mobilized effectively. Nationalism centralization shaped modern Japan. Identity bound to emperor state. Power consolidation facilitated expansion. Legacy influenced future politics. Modernization strengthened Japan's military capacity. Industrial growth supported armed expansion. National confidence increased rapidly. Power ambitions expanded outward. Meiji leaders pursued equal status globally. Western empires served competitive models. Strength required imperial presence. Expansion seen as survival strategy. Military victories validated reforms. Modern army proved battlefield effectiveness. Confidence grew among leadership. Nation tested newfound strength. First Sino-Japanese War decisive. Conflict erupted over Korean influence. Japanese forces defeated Qing China. Victory shocked international observers. Treaty of Shimonoseki expanded influence. Territories gained including Taiwan. Reparations fueled further development. Japan emerged imperial contender. Russia challenged Japanese ambitions later. Rivalry centered in Manchuria, Korea. Tensions escalated into war. Global attention focused on conflict. Russo-Japanese War proved historic. Japan defeated major European power. Victory demonstrated military modernization success. Asia witnessed unprecedented outcome. Portsmouth Treaty recognized Japanese gains. Influence over Korea secured formally. Manchurian interests expanded strategically. Japan's status elevated internationally. Korea gradually absorbed into empire. Protectorate established through diplomacy force. Annexation completed 1910. Colonial rule expanded Japanese control. Navy expansion supported regional dominance. Fleet protected sea lanes trade. Maritime power projected influence abroad. Oceans became strategic assets. Military doctrine emphasized preemptive strength. Security framed through expansion logic. Defense justified overseas control. Empire seen as protective buffer. Economic interest drove imperial actions. Resources markets sought abroad. Colonies supplied raw materials. Economy linked to expansion. National pride fueled public support. Victories celebrated widely domestically. Media promoted imperial achievements. Patriotism aligned with expansion. Education promoted imperial consciousness. Textbooks emphasized military success. Youth taught national destiny. Ideology supported foreign policy. Western powers reassessed Japan seriously. Diplomatic recognition increased significantly. Treaties renegotiated gradually. Japan gained legal equality. Imperial institutions strengthened internally. Military gained political influence. Expansion formalized within governance. Civilian oversight weakened gradually. Regional neighbors grew wary fearful. Japanese presence altered power balance. Tensions increased across East Asia. Long-term conflicts foreshadowed. Expansion marked departure from isolation. Japan entered imperial competition. Modern nation embraced power politics. Transformation completed globally. Meiji era achieved strategic objectives. Independence secured through strength. Regional dominance established firmly. Japan reshaped Asian geopolitics. Emergence as power defined modern Japan. Success carried future consequences. Empire built on modernization. Legacy shaped 20th century history. Japan entered imperial expansion confidently. Modernization enabled overseas military action. Leadership believed strength ensured survival. Wars tested national reforms. First Sino-Japanese War erupted 1894. Conflict centered on Korean influence. Qing China weakened by internal decay. Japan sought regional dominance. Japanese army demonstrated modern tactics. Training discipline surpassed Chinese forces. Battles ended swiftly, decisively. Victory surprised global powers. Navy played crucial role in conflict. Modern warships dominated sea battles. Control of waters ensured success. Maritime strength proved essential. Treaty of Shimonoseki concluded war. China recognized Korean independence. Taiwan ceded to Japan. Reparations boosted Japanese economy. Victory boosted national confidence dramatically. Military success validated modernization. Public pride surged nationwide. Imperial ambitions expanded further. Western powers intervened diplomatically afterward. Triple intervention forced concessions. Japan resented foreign interference. Desire for strength intensified. Russo-Japanese rivalry escalated tensions. Both powers competed in Manchuria. Negotiations failed repeatedly. War became unavoidable. Russo-Japanese War began 1904. Japan launched preemptive naval strike. Attack shocked international community. War strategy emphasized speed. Japanese army fought brutal land battles. Port Arthur and Mukden witnessed heavy losses. Disciplined entrance tested severely. Victory demanded immense sacrifice. Navy achieved historic triumph. Tsushima. Russian Baltic Fleet destroyed decisively. Sea power secured Japan's victory. Battle changed naval warfare history. Russia underestimated Japanese capabilities. European arrogance contributed defeat. Asian power defeated Western Empire. Global perceptions shifted dramatically. Treaty of Portsmouth ended conflict. Japan gained southern Sakhalin rights. Influence over Korea recognized. Empire expanded diplomatically. Victories elevated Japan's world status. Nation joined ranks of great powers. Colonial ambitions legitimized internationally. Respect replaced earlier condescension. Military leaders gained immense prestige. Army-Navy influence increased politically. Civilian oversight weakened gradually. Militarism gained stronger voice. War cost strained economy society. Taxes increased public burden. Soldiers' deaths mourned nationally. Victory carried heavy price. Education glorified military triumphs. Heroes celebrated in textbooks. Youth inspired by martial success. Nationalism intensified culturally. Victories reshaped Japanese foreign policy. Force viewed as effective tool. Diplomacy backed by military strength. Expansion became accepted strategy. Sino-Russo wars marked turning point. Japan proved imperial contender. Confidence fueled further expansion. Path toward empire solidified. Imperial expansion rooted in these victories. Military success shaped national destiny. Wars transformed Japan's identity. Era set stage future conflicts. Imperial victories enabled territorial expansion. Japan pursued colonial administration actively. Empire building became national objective. Control extended beyond home islands. Taiwan became first overseas colony. Acquired after Sino-Japanese War. Islands served experimental colonial model. Administration tested imperial governance. Japanese authorities imposed strict control. Infrastructure built roads, railways, ports. Public works modernized colony. Control ensured economic extraction. Local resistance met harsh suppression. Military police enforced colonial order. Rebellions crushed decisively. Authority maintained through force. Education system reshaped under Japanese rule. Schools taught Japanese language culture. Assimilation policies promoted loyalty. Identity reshaped through instruction. Economic exploitation supported imperial economy. Agriculture reorganized for exports. Resources shipped to Japanese industries. Colony served metropolitan needs. Korea gradually absorbed into empire. Protectorate established after diplomatic pressure. Annexation formalized 1910. Korean sovereignty eliminated completely. Colonial government centralized under governor. Military rule enforced strict compliance. Political freedoms severely restricted. Control prioritized over consent. Land reforms displaced Korean farmers. Japanese settlers gained fertile lands. Economic inequality widened drastically. Resentment grew among locals. Cultural suppression intensified assimilation efforts. Korean language restricted in schools. Names changed under imperial policy. Identity systematically erased. Industrial development served imperial strategy. Factories, mines built strategically. Labor exploited for Japanese benefit. Economic growth unevenly distributed. Manchuria attracted Japanese strategic interest. Resources vital for industrial expansion. South Manchurian Railway established control. Economic penetration preceded military occupation. China fragmented by internal instability. Japan exploited regional weakness. Influence expanded through concessions. Presence justified as modernization effort. Colonial ideology framed empire benevolently. Japan claimed civilizing mission narrative. Propaganda emphasized development progress. Reality marked coercion inequality. Resistance movements persisted across colonies. Nationalist groups organized secretly. Uprisings suppressed with violence. Opposition fueled long-term hostility. Colonies integrated into imperial economy. Trade networks linked empire regions. Resources manpower mobilized for Japan. Empire functioned as single system. Military presence ensured colonial security. Garrisons stationed throughout territories. Force deterred large-scale rebellion. Occupation formalized militarized governance. Colonial rule reshaped regional geopolitics. Japan emerged dominant East Asian power. Neighboring nations grew fearful, resentful. Tensions escalated steadily. Colonization entrenched imperial mindset. Expansion viewed as national destiny. Control justified through strength ideology. Empire hardened Japan's foreign stance. Colonial experience influenced wartime actions. Methods of control later intensified. Violence became administrative norm. Imperial governance grew brutal. Colonization defined Japan's imperial era. Territories sustained military ambitions. Expansion deepened international conflicts. Legacy remains deeply contested. Military modernization became imperial priority. Lessons learned from earlier conflicts. Strength ensured survival. Expansion. Armed forces transformed systematically. Government invested heavily in defense. Budgets favored Army-Navy growth. Industry aligned with military needs. War preparation became national focus. Army adopted modern training doctrines. European tactics studied carefully. German influence shaped grand forces. Discipline emphasized hierarchical command. Conscription supplied large trained manpower. Citizens served as national soldiers. Military service fostered loyalty. Army became mass institution. Advanced weapons produced domestically. Artillery rifles, machine guns improved. Factories supplied modern arsenals. Self-sufficiency reduced dependence. Officer education professionalized leadership. Military academies trained elite commanders. Strategy planning emphasized scientific approach. Command culture grew rigid, disciplined. Navy modeled after British standards. Shipbuilding technology advanced rapidly. Battleships, cruisers constructed domestically. Maritime power expanded dramatically. Naval doctrine emphasized decisive battle. Enemy fleets targeted for annihilation. Sea control enabled imperial expansion. Oceans viewed as strategic highways. Aircraft introduced into military planning. Aviation expanded reconnaissance capabilities. Later supported offensive operations. Technology reshaped warfare methods. Army-Navy rivalry intensified internally. Competition influenced strategy decisions. Resources divided between services. Coordination often suffered. Strategic planning focused regional dominance. Asia-Pacific identified primary theater. Defense framed through expansion logic. Security equated with territorial control. Military doctrine emphasized defensive spirit. Attack preferred over defense. Aggression justified as necessity. Culture glorified decisive action. Logistics networks expanded across empire. Railways, ports supported troop movement. Supply chains enabled distant campaigns. Infrastructure sustained prolonged warfare. Colonies used for military bases. Strategic locations fortified extensively. Empire formed defensive perimeter. Territory integrated into defense planning. Military industry stimulated economic growth. Steel shipyards, aircraft factories expanded. Civilian economy tied to armaments. Militarization shaped society deeply. Propaganda celebrated military strength. Victories glorified nationwide. Soldiers portrayed as national heroes. Public support cultivated deliberately. Training emphasized obedience, sacrifice. Individual lives subordinated to mission. Martial values dominated education. Society militarized progressively. Military influence grew within government. Officers held political authority. Civilian oversight weakened steadily. Decisions increasingly militarized. Modernization improved combat effectiveness. Japan matched global military powers. Confidence encouraged further expansion. Success masked strategic vulnerabilities. Over-reliance on military solutions emerged. Diplomacy increasingly sidelined. Force became preferred policy tool. Conflict path hardened. Military modernization defined imperial trajectory. Army-Navy enabled expansion. Strength reshaped foreign relations. Legacy shaped wartime outcomes. Nationalism intensified during imperial expansion. State promoted unity, obedience, loyalty. Individual identity tied to nation. Collective purpose emphasized strongly. Emperor elevated as sacred national symbol. Divine lineage emphasized officially. Loyalty framed as moral duty. Emperor embodied nation itself. State Shinto reinforced emperor worship. Religious rituals institutionalized nationally. Shrines linked faith with patriotism. Belief supported political authority. Education system promoted national ideology. Textbooks glorified imperial history. Students taught obedience, sacrifice. Schools shaped loyal citizens. Military service framed as sacred duty. Soldiers fought for emperor directly. Death portrayed as honorable offering. Sacrifice normalized through propaganda. Media controlled to support state narratives. Newspapers praised expansion victories. Censorship suppressed dissenting voices. Information shaped public opinion. Art literature used ideological messaging. Poster songs celebrated empire. Imagery glorified soldiers, emperor. Culture served political objectives. Family values linked to national duty. Parents encouraged raised loyal children. Mothers praised for sacrifice. Household became ideological unit. Bushido reinterpreted for nationalism. Honor, loyalty emphasized unquestioningly. War framed as moral struggle. Ethics aligned with state goals. Youth organizations trained patriotic discipline. Physical training, ideological instruction combined. Young minds prepared for service. Future soldiers shaped early. Political opposition labeled unpatriotic. Critics accused of disloyalty. Repression justified through nationalism. Debates narrowed significantly. Racial superiority theories promoted officially. Japanese portrayed as Asian leaders. Empire justified as liberation mission. Hierarchy rationalized domination. Emperor's image omnipresent publicly. Portraits displayed in schools' offices. Ritual bowing practiced daily. Reverence enforced socially. National holidays celebrated imperial milestones. Ceremonies reinforced shared identity. Public participation encouraged nationwide. Rituals unified population emotionally. Women mobilized through patriotic roles. Support troops produced supplies encouraged. Sacrifice praised as feminine virtue. Gender roles aligned nationalism. Propaganda masked wartime hardships. Shortages framed as noble sacrifice. Suffering justified for victory. Morale maintained artificially. Ideology discouraged individual questioning. Conformity valued above critical thought. Obedience equated with virtue. Society narrowed intellectually. Nationalism facilitated aggressive policies. Expansion framed as destiny. Public consent manufactured effectively. War became normalized. Emperor-centered ideology sustained imperial drive. Belief unified society temporarily. Propaganda strengthened militarism. Consequences emerged disastrously later. Japan entered World War II aggressively. Expansionist policies led toward conflict. Diplomacy failed to prevent war. Military solutions dominated leadership. Conflict began in China earlier. Full-scale war erupted 1937. Resources drained by prolonged fighting. War mindset hardened domestically. Japan sought resources for empire survival. All steel rubber became critical. Southeast Asia targeted strategically. Expansion aimed secure self-sufficiency. Alliance formed with Axis powers. Germany, Italy partnered politically. Shared opposition to Western dominance. Global conflict widened rapidly. Attack on Pearl Harbor decisive. Surprise strike targeted American fleet. United States entered war immediately. Pacific theater expanded dramatically. Japanese forces advanced rapidly initially. Philippines, Malaya, Singapore captured. Victories shocked allied powers. Empire reached greatest territorial extent. Naval power dominated early engagements. Carrier warfare reshaped naval combat. Speed coordination ensured early success. Confidence soared among commanders. Island hopping strategy countered expansion. Allies targeted key strategic islands. supply lines gradually severed. Japanese positions isolated increasingly. Battle of Midway pivotal turning point. Japanese carriers destroyed unexpectedly. Naval superiority shifted permanently. Momentum reversed against Japan. Guerrilla warfare intensified across occupied lands. Local resistance movements expanded. Occupation policies fueled hostility. Control required brutal repression. Industrial capacity lagged behind allies. Resources shortages crippled production. Bombing campaigns devastated cities. Home fronts suffered immensely. Military leadership refused surrender repeatedly. Bushido ideology discouraged retreat. Sacrifice demanded until end. Losses mounted catastrophically. Civilian populations endured severe hardship. Food shortages, air raids widespread. Morale declined under constant attack. Society strained by total war. Kamikaze tactics employed desperately. Pilots sacrificed lives intentionally. Strategy reflected dire circumstances. Ideology overrode practicality. Atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Unprecedented destruction shocked world. Civilian casualties immense immediate. War reached catastrophic conclusion. Soviet entry further pressured Japan. Manchuria invaded swiftly. Diplomatic options disappeared completely. Defeat became unavoidable. Emperor announced surrender publicly. Broadcast stunned population nationwide. War officially ended 1945. Empire collapsed abruptly. Occupation forces entered Japan peacefully. Demilitarization began immediately. Imperial expansion ended permanently. Nation faced reconstruction challenge. World War II devastated Japanese society. Cities destroyed, millions displaced. Trauma marked national consciousness. Legacy remained deeply painful. Japan's wartime role reshaped global history. Pacific theater determined regional outcomes. Empire ended through defeat. Consequences defined modern Japan. Imperial expansion concluded disastrously. Ambition exceeded national capacity. Militarism led to ruin. History delivered lasting lessons. Japanese culture formed through religious fusion. Belief systems blended over centuries. No single faith dominated completely. Harmony defined spiritual life. Shinto represented indigenous spiritual roots. Nature spirits called kami revered. Ritual purity emphasized strongly. Local shrines shaped community life. Buddhism arrived from continental Asia. Introduced complex philosophies, rituals. Temples spread across islands. Spiritual depth expanded culturally. Rather than replacing Shinto beliefs, Buddhism merged with native practices. Syncretism accepted naturally. Dual worship became common. Kami viewed as Buddhist protectors. Shrines, temples often shared spaces. Boundaries between faiths blurred. Religion adapted flexibly. Confucianism influenced ethical thinking. Focus placed on hierarchy duty. Social harmony emphasized strongly. Morality guided daily conduct. Confucian ideals shaped governance. Loyalty, obedience stressed politically. Family relationships defined roles. Order valued above individuality. Samurai class adopted Confucian ethics. Duty honor reinforced behavior. Service to Lord paramount. Morality linked with authority. Buddhism influenced views on suffering. Impermanence accepted philosophically. Meditation practices encouraged reflection. Inner discipline valued culturally. Zen Buddhism impacted warrior mindset. Simplicity discipline emphasized. Mindfulness enhanced martial focus. Spiritual calm aided combat. Religious festivals blended traditions. Shinto rites, Buddhist prayers combined. Communities celebrated collectively. Culture expressed through ritual. Life cycle ceremonies reflected fusion. Birth Shinto blessings common. Funerals conducted Buddhist style. Practical harmony maintained. Confucian norms shaped family ethics. Respect elders deeply ingrained. Filial piety emphasized socially. Hierarchy structured relationships. State supported religious harmony historically. No strict separation enforced. Belief systems served social stability. Unity prioritized over doctrine. Art architecture reflected spiritual blend. Shrines, temples shared aesthetics. Symbolism crossed traditions. Visual culture unified beliefs. Education incorporated moral teachings. Confucian ethics taught formally. Buddhist philosophy studied intellectually. Shinto values absorbed culturally. Modernization altered religious practice. State Shinto emphasized nationalism. Yet traditions persisted privately. Faith adapted to change. Post-war constitution ensured religious freedom. State withdrew from faith control. Pluralism formally recognized. Spiritual diversity continued. Fusion shaped Japanese worldview deeply. Balanced coexistence valued culturally. Religion guided identity subtly. Harmony remained central principle. Cultural synthesis defined Japanese society. Faiths coexisted without conflict. Adaptability ensured continuity. Tradition survived through fusion. Japanese literature developed across long history. Oral traditions preceded written forms. Stories preserved collective memory. Culture expressed through narrative. Classical literature flourished during Heian era. Court elites produced refined writings. Emotion aesthetics emphasized strongly. Literary culture reached sophistication. The Tale of Genji, influential work, authored by Murasaki Shikibu, explored love, politics, psychology. Often called first novel, poetry held central cultural role. Waka poems expressed subtle emotion. Seasonal imagery deeply symbolic. Brevity conveyed profound meaning. Visual arts reflected spiritual values. Scroll paintings illustrated stories. Religious themes common subjects. Art served educational purposes. Buddhist art influenced sculpture, painting. Statues conveyed serenity, compassion. Temples displayed intricate craftsmanship. Spiritual aesthetics shaped style. No theatre developed medieval period. Slow movements, mass performances. Themes explored fate, spirituality. Elite audiences appreciated refinement. Zen aesthetics influenced no performances. Minimalism, silence emphasized. Space held symbolic meaning. Art encouraged contemplation. Kabuki theatre emerged Edo period. Colorful dramatic performances popular. Common people embraced entertainment. Theatre reflected urban life. Kabuki actors became cultural icons. Stylized gestures exaggerated emotions. Stories featured romance, conflict. Popular culture flourished widely. Bunraku puppet theatre gained prominence. Complex puppets operated collectively. Narration music accompanied drama. Art demonstrated technical mastery. Woodblock prints expanded visual culture. Ukiyo-e depicted everyday life. Actors' landscapes scenes popular. Art reached mass audiences. Artists like Hokusai celebrated globally. Great Wave became iconic image. Japanese aesthetics influenced Western art. Cultural exchange expanded internationally. Calligraphy regarded high art form. Writing expressed personal character. Brush strokes reflected discipline. Art merged language, spirit. Tea aesthetics influenced artistic taste. Simplicity, balance valued. Imperfection embraced philosophically. Wabi-sabi shaped expression. Modern era introduced new art forms. Western techniques adopted selectively. Literature addressed social change. Artists balanced tradition, innovation. Cinema emerged as powerful medium. Directors explored identity, history. Film reached global audiences. Cultural storytelling evolved further. Post-war literature reflected trauma recovery. Writers explored lost meaning. New voices gained prominence. Society questioned past experiences. Arts preserved cultural continuity. Creativity adapted across eras. Expression remained central identity. Culture thrived through resilience. Family formed foundation of Japanese society. Household defined social identity. Collective needs prioritized over individual. Stability valued deeply, i.e. system structured traditional families. Household extended across generations. Head controlled property decisions. Continuity mattered more than personal choice. Patriarch held legal authority. Male lineage emphasized inheritance. Women expected support roles. Hierarchy governed family life. Marriage arranged to strengthen households, love considered secondary factor. Families negotiated alliances carefully, social harmony prioritized over emotion. Confucian ethics shaped family behavior, filial piety stressed obedience. Elders commanded respect authority. Duties clearly defined roles, gender roles strictly divided traditionally. Men worked public sphere, women managed household affairs. Balance maintained through separation. Samurai families emphasized honor duty. Children trained discipline early. Reputation guarded carefully. Family honor outweighed personal desire. Peasant families focused survival labor. All members contributed economically. Children worked from young age. Community cooperation essential. Village norms regulated behavior strictly. Conformity enforced through social pressure. Deviation discouraged strongly. Group harmony maintained order. Modernization altered family structures gradually. Urbanization reduced extended households. Nuclear families became common. Mobility reshaped relationships. Legal reforms changed inheritance rights. Individual rights recognized formally. Arranged marriages declined slowly. Personal choice increased. Education expanded opportunities for youth. Children gained independence earlier. Careers shaped life paths. Tradition adapted to change. Women gained greater public roles. Education employment opportunities expanded. Legal equality increased gradually. Traditional expectations persisted nonetheless. Work culture reshaped family dynamics. Long hours limited home presence. Company loyalty mirrored family loyalty. Workplace became social unit. Post-war reforms transformed social norms. Constitution ensured gender equality. i.e. system legally abolished. Democratic values promoted. Yet cultural expectations remained influential. Respect hierarchy still practiced. Politeness guided interactions. Tradition survived informally. Elder care remained family responsibility. Aging population challenged structures. Modern society adapted slowly. Support systems evolved cautiously. Youth culture diverged from tradition. Individual expression increased visibly. Generational gaps widened socially. Values renegotiated continuously. Community ties weakened urban settings. Anonymity replaced village intimacy. Social isolation increased concerns. New norms emerged gradually. Family norms balanced old new values. Tradition blended with modern life. Adaptation defined social continuity. Identity evolved without rupture. Family structures reflected societal change. Roles shifted across eras. Continuity coexisted with transformation. Culture adjusted resiliently. Tea ceremony embodied Japanese aesthetic values. Ritual emphasized harmony, respect, purity. Silence held deep meaning. Every gesture symbolized mindfulness. Chanui developed under Zen influence. Simplicity guided ceremony design. Focus placed on present moment. Spiritual discipline expressed socially. Tea masters shaped cultural philosophy. Sen no Rikyu influential figure. Wabi-sabi aesthetics promoted. Imperfection accepted as beauty. Tea rooms designed with minimalism. Small spaces encouraged humility. Natural materials used intentionally. Architecture supported spiritual focus. Traditional architecture emphasized harmony nature. Wood, paper, stone preferred. Buildings blended with surroundings. Environment respected culturally. Shrines, temples reflected spiritual identity. Curved roofs, symbolic forms. Craftsmanship demonstrated devotion. Architecture conveyed belief systems. Castles represented political authority. Fortified structures symbolized power. Design combined defense aesthetics. Urban centers formed around them. Urban planning evolved during Edo period. Cities organized around social hierarchy. Samurai districts separated clearly. Order reflected governance structure. Merchant quarters fostered vibrant culture. Markets, theaters flourished actively. Commoners shaped urban life. Culture became more dynamic. Edo developed distinct urban identity. Population grew rapidly. Entertainment districts gained popularity. City life influence art literature. Woodblock prints depicted urban pleasures. Tea houses act as courtesans featured. Floating worlds celebrated visually. Urban culture romanticized creatively. Architecture adapted to dense populations. Narrow streets, wooden homes common. Fire hazards frequent challenge. Rebuilding shaped city resilience. Modernization transformed urban landscapes. Western buildings appeared in cities. Brick steel replaced wood. Skylines reflected modern ambitions. Tokyo symbolized cultural transition. Tradition coexisted with modernity. Ancient temples near skyscrapers. Identity expressed through contrast. Public spaces shaped social interaction. Park stations, shopping streets. Urban life encouraged anonymity. New behaviors emerged socially. Tea ceremony persisted in modern times. Practice preserved cultural continuity. Taught discipline, mindfulness nationally. Tradition survived modernization. Architecture embraced earthquake resilience. Engineering prioritized safety innovation. Design balanced function aesthetics. Technology shaped living spaces. Urban culture reflected societal values. Efficiency, order, cleanliness emphasized. Public behavior regulated subtly. Collective responsibility maintained. Cultural spaces preserved national memory. Museums, historic districts protected. Heritage valued alongside progress. Identity rooted in place. Tea architecture cities expressed Japan. Spiritual simplicity met urban complexity. Tradition shaped modern expression. Culture remained visibly distinct. Education became foundation of modern Japan. Knowledge linked directly with progress. State invested heavily in schools. Learning served national goals. Meiji reforms established national education. Compulsory schooling introduced nationwide. Literacy rates increased rapidly. Education unified population. Curriculum combined morality science. Confucian ethics taught alongside mathematics. Loyalty discipline emphasized strongly. Citizens shaped for state service. Teacher training standardized professionally. Normal schools prepared educators. Instruction quality improved nationally. Schools became social institutions. Universities produced technical expertise. Engineers, lawyers, doctors trained. Modern professions expanded quickly. Elite leadership developed academically. Education promoted social mobility gradually. Merit-based advancement encouraged. Examinations replaced heredity partially. Talent identified systematically. Technology adoption prioritized industrial growth. Foreign experts hired initially. Domestic skills developed progressively. Self-reliance became objective. Railways transformed transportation networks. Time-space compressed nationally. Markets integrated efficiently. Mobility reshaped society. Telegraph newspapers spread information. Communication accelerated dramatically. Public awareness increased nationally. Society became interconnected. Industrial technology reshaped labor patterns. Factories replaced artisanal production. Urban workforce expanded rapidly. Working class emerged distinctly. Military technology influenced civilian industry. Shipbuilding metallurgy advanced. Research supported defense needs. Innovation accelerated across sectors. Technology fueled economic miracle era. Electronics automobiles dominated exports. Global markets embraced Japanese goods. Innovation drove prosperity. Corporate training became lifelong education. Companies invested in employee skills. Workplace learning emphasized loyalty. Productivity culture developed strongly. Information technology transformed daily life. Computers entered offices' homes. Digital literacy expanded rapidly. Society adapted continuously. Education emphasized discipline, perseverance. Long study hours normalized. Exams shaped youth culture. Pressure accompanied achievement. Research development became national priority. Government industry collaborated closely. Innovation sustained competitiveness. Knowledge economy emerged gradually. Challenges accompanied technological progress. Work stress, demographic shifts increased. Education systems faced reform pressure. Adaptation remained ongoing process. Modern society shaped by learning. Technology education intertwined deeply. Tradition guided adaptation choices. Change managed pragmatically. Education technology defined Japanese modernity. Human capital became greatest resource. Adaptability ensured resilience. Society evolved through knowledge. Culture society segment completed successfully. Identity balanced tradition innovation. Learning shaped national character. Modern Japan emerged prepared. War gradually turned against Japan. Early victories faded under pressure. Resources manpower declined rapidly. Defeat became increasingly likely. Allied bombing devastated Japanese cities. Industrial centers targeted continuously. Civilian casualties rose dramatically. Home fronts suffered intensely. Naval losses crippled supply lines. Merchant fleets destroyed systematically. Food fuel shortages worsened. Military operations stalled. Air superiority shifted to allies. American bombers dominated skies. Cities burned through firebombing. Urban life collapsed brutally. Tokyo firebombing caused massive destruction. Entire neighborhoods erased overnight. Thousands died in single raids. Psychological shock deepened nationally. Rural areas strained by shortages. Agriculture failed meet demands. Malnutrition spread among civilians. Morale weakened steadily. Military leadership refused surrender initially. Honor ideology rejected capitulation. Sacrifice demanded until last. Reality ignored stubbornly. Kamikaze attacks increased desperation. Young pilots sent on suicide missions. Losses mounted without results. Tactics reflected hopeless situation. Atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Unprecedented devastation shocked leadership. City destroyed instantly. Human suffering unimaginable. Second atomic bomb hit Nagasaki. Hope for negotiation vanished. Destruction confirmed overwhelming power. Shock paralyzed decision makers. Soviet Union entered war suddenly. Manchuria invaded rapidly. Strategic situation collapsed entirely. Japan faced multiple fronts. Imperial Council debated surrender intensely. Military civilians conflicted strongly. Fear of invasion widespread. Decision delayed painfully. Emperor intervened personally unprecedentedly. Authority used to end war. Peace prioritized over ideology. Historic choice made. Emperor's radio broadcast announced surrender. Nation heard voice first time. Shock disbelief spread nationwide. War officially ended. Soldiers ordered lay down arms. Empire dissolved across Asia. Occupation imminent, unavoidable. Military power ended completely. Population reacted with mixed emotions. Relief, shame, grief combined. Losses mourned quietly. Silence followed defeat. Cities lay in ruins nationwide. Millions homeless displaced. Infrastructure destroyed extensively. Survival became immediate concern. Empire's collapse shattered ideology. Emperor worship questioned silently. National identity entered crisis. Meaning re-evaluated deeply. Defeat marked historical turning point. Militarism discredited permanently. Old order collapsed fully. New future uncertain. Surrender ended imperial ambitions. Japan faced rebuilding reality. Defeat humbled national psyche. Transformation became unavoidable. Allied forces occupied Japan after surrender. Occupation led by United States. General MacArthur assumed authority. Nation placed under foreign control. Occupation aimed to prevent future militarism. Democracy introduced as priority. Reforms reshaped political structure. Society transformed systematically. Japanese government retained symbolic role. Real power rested with occupation authorities. Policies directed from headquarters. Sovereignty temporarily suspended. War crimes trials held publicly. Military political leaders prosecuted. Responsibility assigned officially. Past actions judged internationally. Emperor's status redefined constitutionally. Divinity renounced it publicly. Human status declared formally. Symbolic role preserved carefully. New constitution drafted under occupation. Promulgated 1947. Democratic principles emphasized strongly. Legal foundation rebuilt. Sovereignty vested in people. Emperor became ceremonial figure. Authority shifted to citizens. Power structure fundamentally changed. Parliamentary democracy institutionalized nationally. Diet strengthened as legislature. Prime Minister accountable to Parliament. Civilian governance reinforced. Bill of Rights guaranteed freedoms. Speech assembly religion protected. Individual liberties emphasized clearly. State power limited legally. Women gained equal legal rights. Suffrage extended universally. Gender equality declared constitutionally. Social transformation accelerated. Land reforms redistributed farmland. Large estates dismantled forcibly. Farmers gained ownership rights. Rural democracy strengthened. Zaibatsu conglomerates weakened deliberately. Economic power decentralized intentionally. Competition encouraged across industries. Capitalism restructured socially. Education system reformed democratically. Militaristic content removed. Critical thinking encouraged gradually. Youth shaped differently. Labor unions legalized nationwide. Workers gained collective bargaining rights. Employment protections strengthened. Industrial relations modernized. Local governance expanded autonomously. Prefectures, municipalities empowered. Grassroots democracy encouraged. Central authority balanced locally. Press censorship gradually relaxed. Media freedom promoted actively. Public debate re-emerged. Information flowed openly. Pacifist ideals embedded constitutionally. War renounced as policy. Military force prohibited officially. Peace became national principle. Occupation reforms faced conservative resistance. Tradition clashed with imposed change. Adaptation required compromise. Reforms adjusted pragmatically. Japanese society adapted reforms quickly. Cooperation replaced resistance largely. Stability prioritized over confrontation. Change internalized gradually. Occupation ended 1952. Sovereignty restored formally. Reforms remained largely intact. New Japan emerged. Constitution defined post-war identity. Democracy replaced militarism. Rights shaped civic life. Transformation proved enduring. Defeat discredited military authority completely. Armed forces dissolved immediately. Weapons destroyed under supervision. Militarism rejected nationally. Occupation authorities enforced demilitarization. Army-Navy abolished formally. Bases dismantled systematically. War capacity eliminated. War ministries disbanded quickly. Officers removed from power. Military influence erased politically. Civilian control established firmly. Education purged of militarist ideology. Textbooks rewritten thoroughly. Peace values emphasized strongly. Youth taught different ideals. Article 9 renounced war constitutionally. Force prohibited as policy tool. Aggression rejected permanently. Pacifism codified legally. Self-defense forces created later cautiously. Defensive purpose emphasized strictly. No offensive capability allowed. Military renamed deliberately. Public opinion supported pacifism widely. War trauma shaped attitudes. Peace became moral commitment. Society rejected armed conflict. Defense spending limited deliberately. Resources redirected toward welfare. Economic recovery prioritized over arms. Growth replaced militarization. Security relied on alliance system. United States provided protection. Mutual defense treaty signed. Dependence shaped foreign policy. Cold War tensions tested pacifism. Regional threats increased gradually. Debates emerged domestically. Principles balanced with pragmatism. Korean War prompted rearmament pressures. Police reserve formed initially. Forces expanded carefully. Pacifism adapted strategically. Civilian oversight strengthened institutionally. Military placed under democratic control. Transparency emphasized strongly. Abuse of power prevented. Peace movements flourished socially. Activists promoted disarmament. Public demonstrations common. Pacifism became cultural identity. Nuclear weapons rejected emphatically. Hiroshima-Nagasaki memories endured. Anti-nuclear stance hardened. Moral leadership claimed globally. International aid replaced military expansion. Japan pursued diplomacy trade. Soft power emphasized internationally. Peaceful image cultivated carefully. United Nations membership reinforced pacifism. Japan contributed financially significantly. Peacekeeping roles limited cautiously. Global engagement expanded peacefully. Constitutional debates persisted decades. Calls for revision emerged periodically. Pacifism defended strongly by public. Identity remained contested. Defense technology developed defensively. Non-aggressive research prioritized. Industry aligned with civilian use. Dual use carefully managed. Pacifism influenced cultural expression. Media literature emphasized peace. War portrayed tragically. Memory shaped values. Demilitarization reshaped national purpose. Strength redefined as prosperity. Security linked with cooperation. Power expressed economically. Transition to pacifism defined post-war Japan. War renounced it ideologically legally. Peace became cornerstone identity. Legacy endures globally. Post-war Japan faced economic devastation. Factories destroyed, infrastructure ruined. Poverty widespread across cities. Recovery seemed distant initially. Occupation reforms laid recovery foundations. Land reform boosted rural productivity. Labor rights increased worker stability. Economic equality improved gradually. Government adopted developmental state model. State guided industrial priorities. Planning supported strategic sectors. Growth managed systematically. Korean War stimulated economic revival. American demand boosted production. Factories restarted rapidly. War procurement fueled recovery. Manufacturing became economic backbone. Steel, automobiles, electronics prioritized. Export-oriented strategy adopted. Industry expanded aggressively. Technology transfer accelerated modernization. Western techniques studied adopted. Domestic innovation improved efficiency. Quality standards emphasized strongly. Kairetsu networks replaced Zaibatsu structure. Corporate groups stabilized capital. Bank industry cooperation strengthened. Long-term investment encouraged. Education supplied skilled workforce. Engineers, technicians trained extensively. Human capital drove productivity. Merit rewarded organizational loyalty. Lifetime employment system emerged. Job security fostered dedication. Companies invested in employee welfare. Workplace stability increased efficiency. Government ministries guided industrial policy. MITI coordinated economic planning. Trade barriers protected infant industries. Competitiveness developed carefully. Infrastructure rebuilt rapidly nationwide. Highways, ports, railways expanded. Logistics improved significantly. Connectivity supported growth. Energy consumption increased dramatically. Hydroelectric nuclear power developed. Resources imported strategically. Industrial output surged continuously. Consumer culture expanded during growth. Household appliances became common. Living standards rose steadily. Middle class expanded widely. Innovation focused on efficiency, quality. Lean production techniques developed. Waste reduction prioritized strongly. Global competitiveness achieved. Exports penetrated global markets. Japanese goods gained reputation. Reliability, affordability praised. Trade surpluses accumulated rapidly. Economic growth transformed social life. Urbanization accelerated population shifts. Rural communities declined gradually. Cities expanded vertically. Environmental costs emerged alongside growth. Pollution health crisis appeared. Regulation introduced gradually. Balance sought between growth sustainability. Economic miracle reshaped global perceptions. Japan became second largest economy. Prosperity symbolized national recovery. Defeat transformed into success. Rapid modernization restored national confidence. Economic strength replaced military power. Prosperity legitimized post-war order. Growth defined new identity. Recovery demonstrated adaptive capacity. Society mobilized collectively. Discipline, organization rewarded. Historical resilience proven. Post-war growth redefined Japan globally. Economic influence replaced empire. Modernization ensured independence. Foundations set future power. Post-war growth positioned Japan globally. Economy expanded beyond recovery. Ambition shifted toward leadership. Global integration intensified rapidly. Exports became engine of influence. Automobiles and electronics dominated markets. Brands gained international trust. Quality defined national reputation. Technology innovation drove competitiveness. Research development prioritized nationally. Corporations invested heavily in innovation. Knowledge became strategic assets. Electronics revolution showcased Japanese expertise. Televisions, radios, semiconductors exported. Consumer technology reshaped lifestyles. Japan led technological diffusion. Automobile industry achieved global dominance. Fuel-efficient, reliable cars produced. Lean manufacturing set new standards. Industry transformed global competition. Robotics automation advanced industrial productivity. Factories integrated smart machinery. Precision engineering became hallmark. Efficiency surpassed international rivals. Education supported high-tech workforce. Science engineering emphasized strongly. Universities collaborated with industry. Talent pipeline sustained innovation. Government supported technological strategy. Policies encouraged research collaboration. Standards regulations guided development. State facilitated global expansion. Global trade networks expanded influence. Japanese firms invested overseas. Production localized internationally. Economic presence globalized extensively. Financial power increased through investment. Banks funded international projects. Capital flows expanded outward. Japan became major creditor nation. Cultural exports enhanced soft power. Anime technology cuisine spread. Pop culture reached global youth. Image diversified beyond economics. Information technology reshaped corporate systems. Computers automation improved management. Data-driven decisions adopted. Productivity increased across sectors. Space science advanced national prestige. Satellites launched independently. Research demonstrated technical capability. Innovation symbolized modern strength. Urban infrastructure reflected technological leadership. High-speed rail impressed world. Efficiency safety praised globally. Cities showcased modern design. Challenges emerged during the economic peak. Asset bubble inflated dangerously. Collapse tested economic resilience. Reforms followed cautiously. Despite stagnation, technological leadership persisted. Innovation continued in key sectors. Adaptation replaced rapid growth. Stability maintained strategically. Aging population posed future challenges. Robotics, healthcare technology addressed needs. Innovation targeted social problems. Technology served demographic adaptation. Environmental technology gained global relevance. Energy efficiency, renewable research expanded. Sustainability became strategic focus. Leadership extended responsibly. Japan embraced global cooperation. Technology shared through partnerships. International standards influenced. Leadership exercised through collaboration. Economic power replaced imperial ambition. Influence achieved without conquest. Prosperity ensured security. Soft power defined status. Transformation completed historical cycle. From defeat to leadership, technology economy reshaped identity. Modern Japan emerged resilient. Global economic technological power achieved. Innovation discipline guided success. Peaceful influence replaced force. Legacy defined modern era. Japan began as isolated island culture, surrounded by seas, mountains. Communities evolved independently. Identity formed through nature. Early societies built survival traditions. Harmony with environment valued. Spiritual beliefs shaped life. Culture rooted deeply early. Gradually Japan absorbed foreign influences. Ideas arrived from Asia. Adaptation occurred selectively, carefully. Identity remained distinctly Japanese. Modern era transformed nation rapidly. Isolation replaced by engagement. Power pursued for survival. Change reshaped destiny. Empire rose through strength, discipline. Military modernization enabled expansion. Ambition drove national policy. Confidence fueled imperial rise. Victories reinforced belief in force. Success masked long-term risks. Militarism gained dominance. Balance gradually lost. Culture adapted alongside expansion. Tradition used to justify power. Religion nationalism intertwined. Identity narrowed dangerously. War exposed limits of ambition. Resources stretched beyond capacity. Human cost unbearable. Collapse followed inevitably. Defeat shattered imperial ideology. Certainties dissolved overnight. Nation faced moral reckoning. Future questioned deeply. Occupation introduced new foundations. Democracy replaced authoritarian rule. Peace redefined national purpose. Transformation began quietly. Culture survived despite upheaval. Traditions adapted, not erased. Religion, art, family endured. Continuity balanced change. Lessons learned from militarism failure. Force proved unsustainable path. Power required responsibility. History offered painful guidance. Innovation redirected toward peace. Technology replaced territorial conquest. Industry rebuilt national pride. Strength reimagined constructively. Education shaped resilient society. Knowledge empowered reconstruction. Discipline served development. Human capital became assets. Economic recovery astonished world. From ruins prosperity emerged. Hard work coordination rewarded. Miracle symbolized resilience. Technology elevated global standing. Products reshaped daily life. Innovation influenced industries worldwide. Soft power expanded quietly. Cultural influence crossed borders. Anime cuisine design appreciated. Tradition modernity coexisted. Identity shared globally. Diplomacy replaced domination. Cooperation prioritized internationally. Peaceful leadership valued. Trust rebuilt steadily. History remained living memory. War trauma informed choices. Pacifism shaped policy. Memory guided restraint. Challenges continue in modern era. Demographics, environment, economy tested. Adaptation remains constant necessity. Change never truly ends. Japan's story inspires globally. Resilience admired universally. Transformation proves human capacity. Hope emerges from history. Rise, fall, reinvention interconnected. No phase stands alone. Each shaped next chapter. Continuity defines narrative. Empire's legacy complex, instructive. Achievements coexist with suffering. History neither glorified erased. Understanding requires balance. Modern Japan stands reflective, confident, rooted in past yet forward. Identity forged through struggle. Strength tempered by wisdom. Journey from islands to influence complete. But story continues evolving. History remains active force. Japan still shaping world.